get this thing on the road. So I apologize with college and everything I have to memorize for my classes. I did not memorize my introduction speech. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy and pleased that you have joined us this evening, both on Facebook and obviously here, for the first mayoral candidate forum that the Home Press has put on. My name is Benjamin Nelson, for you guys that don't know me, and I'll be the moderator this evening. Tonight, Macon, Missouri, viewers on social media will get the opportunity to view the mayoral candidates, Mayor Dale Bagley, and local businessman Tal Holman, in a direct, raw atmosphere as they answer questions I have prepared. Tonight and in the coming weeks, the city of Macon is encroaching faster and faster on the crossroads of our town. With that, I'm going to go ahead and state the rules. We did a coin flip at the very beginning between the two candidates. Mr. Holman won, and he chose not to go first. So Mr. Bagley will be going first. And each set of questions, there's 2 questions per set. He's going to go first, and then we're going to alternate back and forth between the 2 candidates. So both candidates will be asked the same number of questions. Most questions are the same exact question format. Other questions are different. They're 2 different individuals. They've held different positions, different jobs, and stuff like that. No info prior to the event. So the only questions that they both got or received, I will explain when we get to them. And then the Home Press released an article with those 2 questions in it on Facebook if you're curious. Both of them were not allowed to bring any information to the event. I did tell them that there would be paper for them to write anything on when they got here, but neither candidate has brought information prior to the event that's been on a piece of paper. It's all in their minds. Rebuttals are going to happen. So when Mr. Bagley starts first, he answers his question. Mr. Holman will then answer his question, and then after that I will ask, is there any rebuttals? And if there are, they will have 1 minute to state the rebuttal. The other candidate has an opportunity to. If not, we're moving on. We're not going to keep going back and forth. We have a lot to get through this evening. So with you guys, all I'm going to ask is to be quiet. Don't boo or clap or anything. Wait to the end to do that. Like a presidential debate. Like I said, candidates did not know the questions ahead of time. So now we're going to go ahead and get started.
Yeah. I don't think it's working. It's not working. You know about the Facebook?
Yeah, we're getting that recorded, so we'll just post it later. Candidates, you both have 2 minutes to give a brief bio about yourself and anything you feel pertinent to your opening statement. Mr. Bagley, you're up.
I'm Dale Bagley, currently the mayor of Macon, so I'll be running for re-election. The thing that I'm going to start with is a lot of people don't know about me is that I was born in Brookfield, Missouri. I went to high school in Edina, Missouri, and I went to college in Kirksville, Missouri. I worked my way through college. I started working when I was 10 years old, delivering papers for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch in Kirksville, and delivered papers all over the whole town. And that's a pretty big job for a 10-year-old kid. I continued to work my way through school. I worked as a meat cutter at a logger plant. I helped process beef, pork, and in-season deer, which I hated. One of the things, it's hard to bone out a deer, I'll tell you that. One of the things that I will tell you is that I have 3 things that drive me. It's my family, my faith in God, and my love for the community of Macon. I have spent most of our lives here in Macon. From the time I was actually lived in Macon 2 years before I came back a second time. But I love Macon. I think it's a wonderful place to raise a family. They have a good school system, and I really know that my job and I don't know how my time is, there's no clock. I will tell you that one of the things that I've done from the time I've been in Macon is I've dedicated myself to helping the Macon people. I've helped them as teachers, helping the students, and also helped them as a member of the Lions and other organizations that give benefits to children.
Do we stand up every time?
You don't have to, but you can.
My name's Hal Holman. I was born and raised in Macon, Missouri. My dad's Gary Holman. I'm a businessman here in town. I started high school here, or went to high school here, graduated here in '98, and he was actually one of my science teachers. And went on, got my degree at Missouri Western State College in human resource management with an emphasis in general management. I then got out of college and started my business in 2004. Most of you have probably seen me around town. I'm a contractor. I work out of the city limits quite a bit, Columbia, St. Joe area, Kirksville. And I raise a family here. I have 4 kids. And my home is Macon, and the reason I'm running for mayor is because I want to see Macon. I want to see more out of Macon. So I'm invested here, and I want to stay here, and I want my kids to stay here.
All right, thank you. Question number 1, you kind of touched base on why you're running for mayor. Surrounding information of what you stand for, state an elevator pitch that you would give to anyone. You have 1 minute. Mr. Holman, you're up.
No, so one question each candidate. So I ask him a question, I ask you.
Well, okay, we're starting with, you need to repeat the question because
I was thinking he was.
Surrounding information of what you stand for, state an elevator pitch that you would give to anyone. You will have 1 minute.
Oh, 30 seconds left. I would like to say that my experience and leadership that I've shown in the city of Macon over the past few years have indicated to everyone who deals with Macon knows that Macon is a better place for the work that the city has done, and the city has done this by working with the citizens and helping solve problems that the citizens bring to the city, and we're dealing with them as quickly as we can, and trying to do the best job we can to be good stewards of the Macon City taxes.
I personally, as most people know, I'm a hard worker. I'm a progressive person. I like to see more progression in this town. So my elevator pitch would be, let's get more business here, because without businesses, the town isn't growing. We got to have growth so we don't have to raise taxes for streets and fire equipment. If we have the growth, we can have the sales tax to keep up with the stuff that's needed for the city. So personally, I think that the town needs to grow at a faster rate or grow, period.
All right, clear something up real fast. So each question, we're going to alternate back and forth. If I said that, I meant, so I ask you the same question, you the same question, and then we move on to the next question, the next set of questions. You get what I'm saying? So we'll alternate back and forth each question. All right, second question. In the Federalist Papers, James Madison talks about the powers of the federal, state, and local government. Powers of the federal government in the proposed Constitution are few and defined. Powers of the state and an implied local government are numerous and indefinite. He was most likely pointing to a model of a more influential state and local government that can directly impact a person's life, rather than a brute of a federal government. Please, in detail, describe the powers, job description of the mayor of Macon. You will have 2 minutes. Mr. Holman, you're up first.
From what I've read out of that, there is no, I've called down to the city and asked for a description of the mayor. There's not one available. So I went to the state rules commission, and basically the mayor of Macon is a third-class city. So therefore, he resides over the city administrator, police department, and fire department. And he also does the tie breaks in a city council meeting. If there's your city council is made up of 8 people, and if there's a tie, then the mayor has to break the tie. Also, he sits on advisory, a lot of times sits on advisory boards. He also sits on commissions for the city. And I believe that's it.
Pretty much everything that Cal said there was correct about the job of the city, the mayor. I will state that one of the other things that the business of the mayor, the duties of the mayor are kind of prescribed in state statutes rather than in local ordinances. They do mention the local ordinances, some of the things that we're talking about. But the most important thing to realize is that the mayor has to be available to work with the city administrator, to work with the citizens in dealing with some of the issues that come before the community. I sign all the papers. I got to go to the real estate offices. I go to the lawyer's offices and stuff like that to sign papers when we're making other deals. I sign all the ordinances that get passed by the city. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but to me, the most important thing that the mayor provides is the vision and leadership that makes the city prosper.
All right, some of the questions are kind of lengthy to give a preface to questions. If you read any articles, I can write a lot. So some questions I didn't know how to be very specific and kind of get down to the point. So question number 3, Mr. Holman, you'll go, or Mr. Bagley, you'll go first. Michael Nutter, the 98th mayor of Philadelphia, elected on November 6, 2007, said, "I didn't run for mayor to be the caretaker of the status quo. In your eyes, what does this quote mean? What is the status quo here in Macon? Is it good or bad? How will you deal with it if elected or re-elected as mayor of Macon in April?" You will have 3 minutes starting now.
Well, status quo basically means things as they are at a particular time. My perspective on it is that Macon has never been a status quo community. There's only one thing that you can do in a community. You've got to either move forward or you're going backwards. I think that Macon has continued to move forward. We've worked with the businesses in the community. We've worked with many of the businesses that we're all familiar with have benefited from their interactions with the city. We understand that it's good or bad. The status quo, if the status quo means that we're taking care of the people properly and we're listening to what they have to say and we're responding, that's a good status quo. A bad status quo is when you let the streets go to pot, when you don't have good utilities available in the community, when your fire department has bad brakes and the police department have cars that won't make it to a crime scene. So this is things that need to be fixed, and the city of Macon, with the help of the community, has been able to work towards solving those problems.
My version of the status quo is the same. One of the issues I believe that is a problem in Macon, and a lot of people vouch for this, is no communication from the city. There is not. We have 2 ways of communication. We lost a newspaper several years ago, but we still have Facebook, and we have the city webpage, and there's home press. Now, there's over 9,000 people on Facebook and area news. So there should be information coming out from the city council meetings. It's just like the pool deal. Everybody knows that the pool's not here, and it's got to start over 2 years ago. There's been people asking me about it, and I personally have served on committee to help the park board to try to get ideas in and try to get this thing moving. The way I understand it, we just finalized on the property, but this should have been done before the other pool shut down. We should have known our numbers before that. We should have known what it was going to cost before we shut it down, and took it from there. Don't shut the pool down, then try to figure it out. There's been other people, the YMCA has tried to talk to the park and the council about different ideas that they may have, and they turned them down. I was at the meeting. The streets is a big issue with a lot of people. I'm one of them, and I understand the city, until we have this sales tax, didn't have any money. But there's proper training, and this is my field, how to take care of those streets better than we do. There's got to be a way, and I can fix that. Also, with my leadership in business, we can help with the budget numbers and try to get the stuff fixed and fixed faster. The streets are a big issue, and so is the pool, and we got to get them resolved.
All right, question number 4. This is one where we start rebuttals. So if you guys have,
I got a couple of comments.
Yep.
One of the things that I want to say is that the reason the pool was had to be moved in the first place, it was becoming unsafe for the people who were utilizing it. The bottom was cracking. In the last 2 years, a pump went out, and we had to go all over the United States to try to find a pump to replace it. The groundwater level, because of seepage under the dam, made it impossible without spending $1 million to rebuild the pool what it was. The reason we didn't go with a Y is that the Y's facility was going to cost us at least $300,000 just to move the utilities on the site. And it was also built, the site that they were talking about, was a ditch that water from the highway comes under that goes down into the Belize Lake. So it was a drainage area filled with filled soil. So it's one of those things that it was a no-brainer. It was not a good place for a pool.
do you have anything to show?
Well, with the pool being shut down, the issues were prior to shutting it down. This should have been talked about years ago. Not now, not after the fact. Now we have all the, now the only pool we have in town is the country club. And the country club's pool is not in that good a shape, but it's a place for people to go, and thank goodness we have it. So planning was a big issue on the pool.
All right, there's a question about the pool, so we'll get to it in a little bit. Question number 4. Fiscal audit reports. Our reports in here show in the course of over 13 years, expenses in community development have dropped roughly $529,775, 89%. Street project expenses have dropped roughly $347,889. I understand cutting taxes can be good, but do you think money is being well spent in the aspect of community development? In the report, it talks about how the biggest reasons why it has decreased are due to land easements, the work that stopped at the airport, and the community development director position was eliminated. It also talked about how no chip seal or street overlay projects took place in 2016. A lot of our improvements in the city have to be funded through taxpayers, thus passed by a ballot. With certain tax rates higher than surrounding towns, yet improvements need to be made, please talk about the relationship between taxes and city development. What do you say to those who want growth and improvement but don't like high taxes? Are we spending enough in our city's development? You will have 2 minutes. Mr. Holman, you are up.
That's a long one.
If you need me to repeat anything, I can.
Repeat that first one.
First part? I apologize. Fiscal audit reports show in the course of over 13 years, expenses in community development have dropped $529,775, 89%. Street project expenses have dropped roughly $347,889. So pretty much I understand cutting taxes can be good, but explain the relationship between taxes and city government. What do you say to those that want growth and improvement but don't like high taxes? Are we spending enough on our city's development?
Well, I haven't studied the budget as much as you have, but I do know that we do have a fuel tax, city fuel tax that's supposed to be used for the streets. And I'm not saying that the streets, so you're telling me that the 300-some thousand has not been spent? There hasn't been?
Yeah, it dropped.
It's dropped.
Like the expenses dropped.
Well, that'd be a good question for the mayor.
The expense, I don't know, are you going to answer the question?
Well, I mean, I don't know the budgets, but, I mean, there's got to be a way. I understand now we have a sales tax, and I'm not for high taxes, but the sales tax is in place, and there should be a lot more. The only street I've seen done in the last 10 years is Maverick, to my knowledge, of any major repairs. Now, the streets should be maintained and kept up the best they can with the budget numbers we have. Of course, but now we have a half-cent sales tax that, from what I understand, is putting $500,000 a year into the budget to do that. So, according to my calculations, it should be close to 3 miles of pavement of 2-inch overlay. Now, with that, you're only as good as what's under. So if your road's breaking up under it, if we don't do the proper steps to repair the bad spot under the road, you're not gonna, the overlay's not gonna hold up. Now, as far as, you said something about community development as far as, like, I can't remember all that.
So the city development, I did say in there why it has dropped. The city development director position was eliminated. That was in the fiscal report. Work stopped at the airport, so when we passed all that stuff, that stopped coming in. And then why it was decreased or due to land easements work that stopped at the airport, and the community development director position was eliminated.
Yeah, one of the things that we're talking about here is using the funds available to get the most for the community. One of the issues that we run into is that we run on a cash basis. We cannot go into debt, so therefore everything that we take in, we have to, we can't spend more than we take in. We don't have, because of the expenses and because of inflation and the fact is that the general fund revenue hasn't really gone up much. We've been forced to use sales tax for helping the fire department get new fire trucks. We had to, and when we say we, it's a community that did this. All that happened was that the city of Macon proposed to the citizens that if we passed the quarter-cent sales tax, we would be able to have the funds to do the upgrading on the fire department, and also the same thing with the streets. There's about 65 miles of streets in Macon, so as Tal said, 3 miles of street repair and overlay would have to be very, very judiciously used around the community so that the people who live in the community could see some benefit from it. And that's why we have the city council working so hard to make sure that the money is properly spent in the streets around in the whole community, not just one area.
Any rebuttals?
Well, from what I've seen with the street department, I believe they need proper training and we need different equipment. Because with a lot of the bumps you have on the roads, a lot of those bumps can be fixed just by simply grinding with a milling head off and making them smooth until we get the street fixed. There's a lot of things that can be done that don't cost that much money to correct a lot of the issues we have now. It's not going to fix the potholes we're putting in coal mix and stuff like that, but that's not a very good fix.
No, he's right about that, because that's what has to be done. And We know that there's some equipment out there. One of the things that we were talking about doing is we can't, if we maintain the streets that we have good street and made out of asphalt, we need to occasionally overcoat, chip seal to keep them from going bad. I know these people that have large parking lots, every year or so they go out and they put a layer on there to help maintain them so that you don't have to replace them as often. So that's one of the things that we're looking at doing. Where there's so much we want to make sure that we spend our money so that it's going to be something that will be benefited and we'll have in the future.
Question number 5, this is kind of long, so I apologize. It's about the pool. After reviewing provided park board minutes from 2014 until 2017, there is clearly a discussion that has taken place about the pool. From deciding to go with Westport Pools with the contract, with a generous donation of land by the Davison family, there has been some progress with moving toward a new pool in Macon. Mr. Holman, your name came up several times in the minutes. Possible donation of construction equipment. Vicki McClellan, City Administrator, through discussion outlined in the minutes, seems kind of disappointed, if you will, about the progress in getting a new pool. Survey Monkey shows that the people of Macon are tired of traveling to neighboring towns during the summer to enjoy pool festivities, mainly because they are supporting another community and would much rather support their own. As mayor, you're the top political figure in our town. You have influence. What do you think of the progress so far with getting a new pool? When do you think we will have a pool? Where will it be as a priority to you if elected, re-elected as mayor of Macon? Also, there hasn't been a concrete plan made for long-term financing of the pool. A lot of people have expressed their concerns with that cost, so please discuss that point in your answer. You have 3 minutes to answer. Mr. Bagley, you're up.
Okay. One of the things about the pool is that as I mentioned earlier, we had to move the pool because of the location was just unsuitable. And we looked through the entire community to find a location, and we were fortunate enough that Jack Davidson volunteered to donate some land for us to put the pool on. Then the group of baseball folks came to the park board meeting and asked us to reconsider where we were going to put the pool from the south side of the road on Lake Street to the north side of the road on Lake Street. The group that came kindly did the drilling to make sure that it was suitable soil, and it was suitable. The park board voted to make that switch from the south side over to the north side so that there would be land there available. Jack Davidson has annexed in 20 acres. The annexation will be complete tomorrow on the 27th, so that will be done. After the annexation is over, then we go about the process of obtaining city ownership of the 4.5 acres that he donated. That will be the way that's going to go. And once we get the property, it turns out that you cannot get financing for a pool unless you have property to put it on. So once we get the property, then we can go through the process of financing the pool. We've already gone through the preliminary financing steps, and but we're waiting for possession of the property. And we expect that with the pool design coming in this spring, that construction will begin this year. And hopefully, if they build real fast and maybe get Cal to help do some excavation and some other work out there, maybe they could get it done in time for at least a little swimming in Macon.
Well, the pool's a big priority as far as our keeping our youth entertainment. The pool and the streets are big issues. The pool needs to be going, like you said, and I don't know a lot of the legalities like you pointed out, but I do know that we should progress as fast as we can. I've worked on 3 or 4 pool projects, worked on Roadways, worked on Monroe Cities, worked on Marshall Lanes last year. And you start a pool in August, and they open them in May. So it's not going to be here this year. I mean, that is, it won't happen. So we have to, I suggested at the beginning of this pool issue that we need to go after grant money. I know there's grant money out there for it. I don't know if they've pursued that or not, but I brought that up in some of the meetings I've been in on that committee I served on. But I think we need to get grants to help pay for the pool and try to figure out what it's going to cost to operate the pool. And as far as I can tell, they don't know that. So if it costs $3 million for the pool, what's it going to cost a year to operate the pool? The pools don't make money. So that's a proven thing. And I've talked to the city of Norway, and I've talked to Marceline also about it, and they just don't make money. Marceline was fortunate enough to have the fan company donate the dome to go over the pool so they can have, swimming year round. So
I would like to say, in my point that we have applied for a grant. We took the grant material down about 2 weeks ago to Jeff City. It's a $250,000 grant that would be applied to the pool. You're not going to get a pool, or not big enough grant to pay for the entire pool. So we're going to have to finance a large portion of the pool. We're looking forward to getting that financing done. And we've done a lot of work on looking at the way the financing is set up and are ready to move forward as soon as we get the opportunity.
Well, I was on the other committee to try to get the ball fields up there too. There's a lot of community support behind the ball fields, and I'm not saying the city should replace the pool with the ball fields or none of that, but it would be a nice complex to have uptown for our youth. One of the biggest problems is there's nothing here for our youth. We have a skateboard rink and some other ball fields with the Y, don't get me wrong. But the school don't have enough room for the whole, enough ball tournaments for districts and stuff like that. They need a bigger venue, and I think if the community pulled together, I was on the committee. I talked to the Y, I talked to the school, I talked to the Macon Baseball Association, and I think we need to work on that also. So.
I would like to point out that the ball fields are the city's ball fields, and the city maintains them. The city spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting them maintained, and I think the ball fields look as good as they've looked in years. And we have a wonderful cooperative relationship with the Y and running it. I couldn't be happier with the way that things are going with that, and I think it's a good win-win situation for both groups.
Question number 6. We're now going into the part of the program, so we're halfway through. We're going to be going through some of the questions that the public submitted to me. But first, question number 6. Mr. Holman, you'll be up first. What do you do on a daily basis